Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the 16 millimeter film crew. I'm Cindy.
And I'm Dale.
You can watch us on YouTube. You can like and comment on our YouTube videos and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can listen to us everywhere podcasts are found at 16 millimeter film crew podcast. And you can visit us on our website at www.16millimeterfilmcrew.com. This week, we watched Disclaimer, directed by Alfonso Cuarón. When an intriguing novel appears at the bedside of a journalist whose career has been built on revealing transgressions, she's horrified to realize she's a key character in a long buried story, one that exposes her darkest secret. This show stars Cate Blanchett, Kevin Kline, Sacha Baron Cohen, Cody Smith McPhee, Louis Partridge, and Leslie Manville. So, Dale, what are your thoughts on the series?
Uh, it's a bit of a slow burn. To get into it, like based on the first couple scenes of the two kids in was Italy, I wasn't expecting the series that it turned out to be. Wasn't aware that that was a flashback. I thought the story was gonna progress from there. Like it's one of those non-linear movies kind of thing filled with a lot of flashbacks. They got Sacha Baron Cohen looking like Toto Wolff. If you're into F1, you know who that is, and you'll make the connection instantaneously. I'll show you a picture of that later, and you'll probably see it. But yeah, I thought it was a good movie. Of course, it's ironic that the last Cate Blanchett movie we saw was Tar, and she plays a manipulative person who preys on young people, and now she's trying to hide that seditious affair in a way in her marriage in a different character. So
Yeah, Cate Blanchett is one of the greats, but I think she's really good at playing very morally gray characters, like
yeah.
women who are not likable, but who are still interesting enough to like keep you like watching
Mhm.
and intrigued. So she's really good at that, and she did a great job in that in Tar. But she's also done like other roles, so many other roles in the past that kind of
Mhm.
reflect that very like I love you, Cate Blanchett, but these women are, yeah. So I was really excited about this series just because, like, I love Alfonso Cuarón. He's my favorite director, and Cate Blanchett is one of my favorite actresses. So I was like, I am ready for this show. Like, I can't wait. But I felt like tense, like the whole time watching because I didn't know like what was going to happen.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting us to see like what the book or like what her past was immediately. I kind of thought that we would start off, like she's this great journalist and everyone loves her and she's getting all these awards and stuff. And then like she gets the book and we start slowly seeing kind of what had happened in the past. But it started off there. And I think it was nice that it started off with Jonathan, the kid's character, because I feel
Mhm.
like it's important to, I don't know what's going to happen, but I feel like it's important to highlight the victims who are,
Mhm.
who end up in these situations rather than like, let's see what happened through the eyes of the person who was doing the mess. So I thought that that was a good, like, opening in terms of like, well, not the opening scene, but like just in terms of like us focusing on his character because he is really young. Like he is just a kid. So whatever is going to happen later, like it's gonna be bad. That's why I was feeling tense because I was just like, I feel like this woman is gonna take advantage of this child, and he, spoiler, is dead.
Mhm.
They let you know about, they let you know that very quickly. So
Yeah.
it's like I feel a bit sick going into these next episodes because I don't know what I'm about to see. Like they have a disclaimer before the actual show starts,
Mhm.
and I'm like, I don't know if I want to see this. But yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm nervous, which is good. I feel like they're doing such a great job at like
Yeah.
making me
Yeah.
nervous.
I'm like this thing has what? It's 8 episodes, if I remember correctly, in total, or
Maybe seven. I think it's
seven.
seven.
I guess they screened the whole thing at Cannes, which is for Venice, which is
A
very
lot.
impressive. So
Yeah.
that's about almost 4 hours, basically 4 or 5 hours. But yeah, yeah, I'm blown away by it. I enjoy it so much. It's not like the twists and stuff are kind of really unexpected in a way. Um, I don't kind of think Kate Blanchett's character is the only one at fault in the situation. I mean, it's clearly he's also cheating on his girlfriend as well. I kind of do know what I want. I'm curious as to what leads to his death because that's a big linchpin in it. But yeah, it's like it reminds me of like a Marriage Story. Um, what's the other one? The one that had Oscar Isaac that was on HBO. Scenes from a Marriage.
Hmm.
Reminds me of like of one of those shows, and it's I guess it's really reflective because we've talked about this a lot as far as a lot of young creators and writers are putting out their growth experiences as like children going to adulthood. You have a lot of people who probably did not have, good marriages and stuff are now writing about their experiences and stuff like that stuff as their therapy as well. So a lot of like I think the involvement of the industry because I think this was a book first, and then it
Hmm.
got optioned a movie. I think the advancements of technology has given a lot more people to tell stories they might not have ever gotten before. So yeah.
Yeah. I think that one of the things that I was really enjoying is the fact that I've really wanted like these amazing directors, filmmakers to do television
Mhm.
just because I feel like you have much more space and time to like tell a story. And I was hoping that this would kind of happen in streaming for all of its faults, which are many. I think that they do give an opportunity to these directors to do long form storytelling. So having Alfonso Cuarón, I don't know if he's ever done television. Maybe he did it like maybe in his early career, like when he
Mhm.
was just getting started. But having someone like him do a limited series, like I did not think that would happen. So
Yeah.
the fact that it did is incredible. And when you look at the cinematography, which is fantastic, like that is just,
Beautiful.
oh
Beautiful.
my God.
Yeah.
Emmanuel Lubezki, like just absolutely killing it. Um, it just like it just took me right back to like all of his films. And I just felt like so settled in his world that he creates, where he doesn't do a lot, but like what he does is so like hypnotizing. Like
Yeah.
you were there.
Yeah.
And I love it. And just the performances that he'll get, like Kevin Kline is,
Underrated.
I mean, underrated. Like I don't remember seeing him in anything recent.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, where has this man been? Because like he is absolutely killing it.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, all the performances, honestly. Even Louis, who is like a very young actor, I think he was in like the Enola Holmes movies.
Mm.
There are a lot. Okay, this is a side. This is I know, but there are a lot of like very young actors who are like in their early 20s, maybe in their mid 20s, who've done this kind of like Netflix movies,
Bit
like not
parts. Yeah.
anything serious, but now they're getting like opportunities. Like Drew Starkey, who I think is on Outer Banks, is in the new Luca Guadagnino film. Like
Yeah.
the kids are working, and I'm actually really excited for them
Yeah.
because I feel like before you really had to prove yourself. Like you couldn't like necessarily do like things that were targeted for younger audiences and get these kinds of opportunities. You would have to like had started doing independent films or whatever before people like really took notice of you as like a younger person. Like I'm just thinking about someone like Timothy Chalamet who like did a Chris Nolan movie when he was 15.
Yeah.
And now and like that's why he has a career that he has right now. But like these guys aren't they're not on that trajectory
Mm.
and yet they're still getting these opportunities. And I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
But yes, I think that there is such a benefit to having big directors do television. Like, honestly, I would love if Denis Villeneuve actually did like a Dune series. I know he
Yeah.
won't,
He won't.
but like that would be top tier because I feel like you just bring it down. You're not even bringing it down necessarily. You're just kind of widening it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're like expanding it, and I just feel like these directors have a lot to say because these movies are over 2 hours. So like I know you had more stuff. Um, I just feel like television is a really interesting medium for that kind of talent. And now you're getting the budgets that you probably would only get for film back in the
Yeah.
day to do television, I feel like they should do more. So like hopefully people will see the show and be like, okay,
Yeah, Dune probably would have worked perfectly for this format, considering
yeah.
like I said, you're putting the same budget. Like this show probably did have a movie budget, and they're stretching it out to like 8 episodes, which is amazing. Like Dune probably could have did just the first one. Dune one would have been like 5 hours, 1 hour shows. Dune two, the same thing to the whole trilogy. Um, but yeah, like you said, the two things that really got to me, what you were saying was about how visually stunning it is. Like the scene that really there's a scene that puts you literally in as Jonathan is the young
Mhm.
man. It puts you in Jonathan's mind or view is when he's at the beach and he sees Catherine when she's younger. And he says something like, "Oh, I was enamored and awed by the aura that was surrounding you, like the lighting and everything." And you see that as well. So when he's as a dude, when he's stammering, trying to talk about her beauty and her attraction, and that's all you can say, "Oh, I feel you," because that shot
Mm.
was perfectly lit, like backdrop lit, the hair like framed perfectly, like you saw what he was trying to say perfectly. Like stuff like that, very few directors will do. Alfonso does it time and time and again. And like the stuff with the young actors now getting opportunities, like you said, Timothy Chalamet did one project and now, one major project and now he's where he is. Like before, like the person I think that kicks all this off is like, Leo and what's his Leonardo DiCaprio, yeah, like he did like TV, had to grind, did what's eating girl were great. Everybody was like, oh, that's amazing. Outshine fucking what's his face? Wow, name
Johnny
blank.
Depp.
Johnny Depp,
Yeah, you're
yeah. Outshine, I'm old, baby. He outshined Johnny Depp, and everybody was in out with that. And then after that took a couple years to get Titanic, and then Leo was Leo from that point on. Like younger actors were grinding, like Tobey Maguire did the same thing, Jake Gyllenhaal did the same thing. Everybody did a lot of independent stuff to grind and grind and grind until they got big name status. Even up to a couple years ago, Scarlett Johansson and Chris Evans were doing a lot of independent projects. Scarlett was probably a little bit more prominent than Chris, but once Chris got the opportunity with Marvel, his career kind of took off from there. And he's like middle groundish. You're not a young actor, you're not an old actor. He's kind of still middle. But yeah, like the opportunities for a lot of these young actors has changed drastically in the last couple of years.
hmm Yeah. And it's great. I like that I mean, unfortunately, it's still a lot of it's just mainly white actors. But
Yeah.
like I hope that what actually starts happening is that the industry becomes more leveled.
Mm,
Um, I don't know if that will happen, maybe not in our lifetimes, but like hopefully I hope it gets there one day
yeah.
where it's like if you're good, like someone will see you and like, invest in your talent and give you opportunities. I think that and like you won't have to spend years and years trying to grind it out. Um, I think there's a benefit to that also. Like you probably learn a lot of stuff kind of being like a gigging actor, but I also feel like
Mm,
there is something great about just someone seeing that potential and investing in it.
yeah.
But yeah, in terms of the show, back to the show,
Yeah.
I feel like the second episode really was like it's
Stuff
the
kicks
first
off.
yeah, like the first episode was someone like throwing the line in the lake. The second episode was like reeling it in.
Yeah.
Like I know nothing about fishing. But this is I'm gonna keep going with this analogy. Like I bit first episode, but they got me. They got me in
Yeah.
the second one. I think Sacha Baron Cohen, God, him, McG.
Mm,
That's his name. Um, he is a really good actor, and because like just because he does comedy, like it doesn't
yeah.
really matter. Like he is still really good, and he's proven himself in other films that he's a good dramatic actor. But like I thought that his character was so interesting, mainly because of the narration. I felt the narration really helps like get into like these people's minds. And I find it such an interesting tool to use for this story because they didn't necessarily need it.
Yeah.
I feel like we could kind of figure out people's motivations and their feelings just by like the great performances. But I think the narration does like it gives you so much more context and in terms of like not only in terms of like the person, but like the environment they're in. So like when Jonathan's dad comes to his office with the pictures, and they're like, and the narration is explaining like how he works at this charitable organization, but it's really just like a front for them to like take people's money.
Yeah.
Um,
Money laundering.
yes, exactly, which is awful. But and then he gets the photo. It kind of sets up like who he is as a person in terms of like who he's projecting. Like even when he's at home, he's talking about the wine and everything. Like it's very much a projection of like perfect
Status.
husband, has so much status. Um, and I like that how the performances show the characters is very much their mask and how they want to project themselves to other people versus the narration, which tells you like the truth of who these people are. But I love by the end of it, it really all that's kind of unraveled. I mean, that last scene between Kate and Tasha, like that was
Yeah. That
one,
was
just great
A1.
acting,
Yep.
but like, yeah, that was just fantastic acting. Like, and also just like, I don't know if they're gonna stay together. And
Yeah.
honestly, but I also want more information. Like, they really do be breadcrumbing us. Like, I'm like, wait, what happened on the trip? Like, there was stuff that happened after the trip that kind of fed into their marriage and kind of why it is the way it is currently. And also, like, why is the son so weird? Like, I just have so many questions, like,
Yeah.
that I need answered, which
Yeah.
just goes to show, like, one, the writing is fantastic. But also just how everything is put together. It's like, I need more of this because I just need to know what happens. I mean, I could read the book, but I'm not going to. So,
Yeah. What I really love about the second episode is even though we see her or we have kind of somewhat knowledge of her infidelity, we don't know for sure.
mm,
The second what the second episode does, especially considering everybody's kind of self-narrating, or I guess Nancy is narrating everybody from the grave with her book. What I really love is it washes away the veneer of their so-called perfect marriage as he
hmm
finds out, reads the book, and sees the pictures and whatnot. And it comes to a head perfectly as he thinks there's a disconnect between his son and his wife and stuff like that. And he goes like, "Oh, are you free?" Because they both say like, "Oh, you got to get out of the house. You got to do some of your life." Or former, I guess the background thing is like I think he was on drugs or something, and then he got clean or something like that. I don't
Oh,
know.
really?
I don't know. It's,
Oh,
I'm inferencing on
okay.
that.
I thought they said that. I was like, oh, I missed
Yeah,
that one.
I'm inferencing on that. But either drugs or alcohol, whatever. But then he goes to take him out to eat after, and before he starts prying for information, you see the son like kind of living in squalor, like first apartment squalor kind of, and he's like, "Oh, like our son has so much potential. Maybe, if the relationship between his mother and son is decried because of whatever infidelity she had played a factor and it dissolved their relationship, and
Mm,
her behavior has affected their son's behavior. And it really comes to a head like that. He's like, dang, it didn't even just ruin our marriage, it ruined our child's life, and that thing that's what hits him harder more than anything else. Because then he's also now prying his son if he remembers. He's like, I don't remember shit, bro. So, but yeah, I loved that kind of breaking down of the wall and stuff like that.
yeah. And a part of me thinks that he does remember, but he probably was traumatized. And so
Blocked it
he can't
out.
like,
Yeah,
so he blocked it out.
yeah,
Or even if he didn't like see or hear anything, I think kids are so like perceptive. Like they probably they're picking things up even if you're not like explicitly saying whatever.
yeah,
So yeah, it's really strange. I think her character is insane.
yeah,
Like I think the fact it's interesting that she is married to a man who's younger than her, and then she messes with the guy who's younger than her. Like there's some type of power play, some type of
Mm,
need to be in control that that character has. And it's interesting because like the relationship with her son is so like messed up, but I also feel like maybe it was because she was just like very career driven, so everyone else kind of took a back seat a little bit.
mm.
And she like acknowledges it's weird because she like acknowledges her faults, right?
Yeah.
She like acknowledges the fact that she hasn't been like a present mother. She acknowledges like she went to go see Grace at the restaurant, which is weird because she was not confessing any guilt. Like she just went there to be like, hello, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know what that was about. But like, so she has some understanding that like what she's doing is not all right.
Yeah.
But I think that there's this bigger thing, this like drive for self-preservation or something where it's just like, well, I'm just gonna keep going. And
Yeah.
not only that, but I'm gonna ruin whoever's life,
Yeah.
whoever like wrote about me. I'm gonna find them and ruin their lives.
Yeah.
Like, so she is unhinged. But she's at least a little self-aware. She's a very she's a very interesting character.
Yeah. Feel like there's gonna be a little. It feels like also though that both I guess was it Jonathan's parents, Stephen and Nancy,
Hmm.
like they were aware of the sexual relationship between the two of them,
Yeah, I think
and
they
they're
were.
blaming their son's death on her, which
Mm.
which I kind of feel like is also very toxic in a way.
Well, we don't know what
But we don't
happened,
know, but we
so
don't like so we don't know what happened.
maybe it was her fault. Like
So yeah, probably maybe it was,
we
maybe it
don't know.
wasn't. We don't know. Just inferencing there. But yeah, it's one of those movies where neither party, whether Kate Blanchett's character of Catherine or Kevin Kline's character as Stephen is in the right, you know,
Mm.
in a way. Yeah, and you get a lot of stories like that with parents holding on to the burden of their child's death and it becomes toxic and stuff like that, which both parties in this situation are going. But that's what makes this story interesting.
Yeah,
Makes you wanna watch more. And look, like their apartment is beautiful. Like
right?
I'm stuck on it, but
I'm stuck on it.
open bay window kitchen, like like I guess England, it would be kind of the front, but not the front. I'm guessing the
The
front of the
front,
house or alleyway.
the
I'm
back,
guessing,
yeah, it would be
yeah,
the back. That's
the back, yeah. So like the back instead of it being like a sunroom or a garden, it's now a full bay. Like you get fucking old school Wendy's kid restaurant vibes, just glass top to bottom. That's fire. I want that. I want that so much.
I want their
Yeah.
apartment. And it's like in London, so you know it costs like an insane amount of money.
Yeah.
Like they're paying a lot.
Yeah.
But it was beautiful like that open floor plan where it's just like, yes. I
Yeah.
was like, this looks amazing. I really want to move in. I'm just like, yeah, I love it. I love it because it's not like it's such a desirable world that they're
Yeah.
creating. Like even their office spaces, like Catherine's office space looks super cool. Like everyone seems like they're chilling. The dogs are just like hanging out in the
Mm,
office. Like I think they make their lives super enviable on purpose because I
mm,
think it does lure the viewer into thinking like, well, these people couldn't have done anything that bad,
yeah.
right? Look at their lives. They seem fine. And then it's like the slow unraveling of
Yeah.
like
And their offices also coordinate with their personalities very well.
yes.
Like Sasha's character is very, you can tell he's a very by the book, like very sterile, very, and that also plays into when he talks about before his son, like, oh, his wife, when they got together, she was more sexually experienced.
Yeah.
That's that embarrassment, that seriousness, that shyness, and reflects in his office is very sterile, is very plain Jane, very inconspicuous. You don't really notice
Hmm.
much. Whereas her being a journalist and everything, her office is like surrounded by chaos and stuff. Like I said, dogs that walk around, like there's people walking in and out, books are everywhere. Like she thrives in that environment. And that's also, I think, what pressures her into thinking that, now that the stories come back up, that she could still combat and overcome the lie she's trying to hide.
hmm Yeah, it's so fascinating, like how all of the settings and all these like little things really just add to the characters.
Yeah.
Like I love that Steven is wearing his wife's like cardigan that doesn't really fit him and like he's doing like quirky things where it's just like yeah, he's not like all the way there, but it adds something to his character because you
Yeah.
would think of like an old British man as kind
Yeah.
of like a fuddy-duddy, like very like old fashioned. And it was
Yeah.
like those little details that kind of brought out
Yeah.
whatever eccentric kind of living for chaos that
Yeah.
he's embodying as a
Yeah.
character. It's really cool. Like just like little details that just really
Yeah.
add so much. Like,
Yeah, that holding on to the loss of their son is carried over because they both shared it. Is
hmm
carried over to the fact that he's wearing his wife's cardigan. He's holding on to the loss of his wife now, who passed away at old age. It's fine,
hmm
but him wearing that cardigan, airing it everywhere now, is reiterating that fact that he's still holding on to something he can't let go of. You know, so
Yeah. So I'm so excited to see the rest of this. Like, I have no idea what's gonna happen. I think this week the new episode is gonna focus on that trip and what actually does happen
mhm,
there. I am nervous. I don't want to see anything insane. Like I'm actually really scared. But like I do think that the show is like really interesting because
mhm.
there are no good guys. Like
No.
everyone's unhinged. So it's like,
I
okay,
mean, the
great.
only good person I do think are the principal who retired, who is like, oh,
Oh
we can
yes,
make
he
we
was sweet.
we can make money off these books. He's like, he agrees with his friend, like, your kid is dumb, but just apologize, keep everything moving. Then he quits his principal, like, hey, let's start this publishing company. The book is wonderful. We make sales off of that. We could start hiring other independent writers and make more money. He's focused on that. And then the husband, like, those are the only two people I'm kind of rooting for. The
And I have my
husband.
eye on the husband. I don't know if
Yeah.
I trust him
Yeah,
that much.
especially now that we know his family's kind of
They
using
were against.
against the marriage and also using their nonprofit to hide money.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So no, he's not. You're
yeah,
not getting off
yeah,
clean. You are messy, just like
yeah.
everybody else. So yeah, this is interesting. I cannot wait for next year's Emmys because the television that we're getting this year, it's eating
It's
like
yeah, and I think a lot of these are holdovers from the pandemic. Like
yeah.
a lot of these projects probably would have been film.
Or yeah,
Well,
he said that he was trying to make it
yeah,
for a little bit, but then it turned into a he said the only way he could have made it was as a
yeah,
series.
yeah,
But they did film it during the pandemic and it
yeah,
took like so long to film. So it's
yeah.
like,
All right, so on to the news. First off, kind of behind the scenes Hollywood drama being reported the last couple weeks. ACA, which is one of the bigger talent agencies representation groups in the industry, is kind of suing a bunch of former employees. One in particular by the name of Pete Miscellany, who was a former literary agent, now who's the CEO of Range, which is another competitive um representation company, Range Media Partners. They started suing them last Tuesday. Not just him, but a bunch of some more of his cohorts and colleagues, under the pretenses that it's a brazen theft of confidential information and they're illegally running a talent agency as a management company. This kind of kicks off for a lot of the reasons. Mostly there has been a large pool of former represent actors being represented by a CAA that have left and joined Range and joined a bunch of other companies going forward. And so the issue at its core is not it's a competitive company. The issue is they're trying to get what's considered the legal definition of a talent agency or a talent agent defined, because nowadays a lot of these actors who are signing with them don't even have US based agents anymore. Most of them are in the UK. And if those definitions aren't clearly defined, of course, ACA has no real leverage. There's no reason for actors to need agents representation on both coasts. So this is just kind of one of those situations where a company that kind of controlled Hollywood behind the scenes because they represent a lot of people is kind of raging against a changing of the guard and basically a new face coming in and taking their spot at the moment. So
See how that unfolds. Um, in other news, Joker. Okay, so in terms of box office, Joker 2 box office plunges in second week, which is the worst drop for a comic book movie. Um, it's going to streaming on October 29th, which is only like 20 something days since it got released in theaters. And I guess that's kind of how you know a movie is doing badly is if it just goes straight to streaming
yeah.
after it's only been out in the theater for a little while. So yeah, it saw an 81.3 drop and it's it's bad because they spent a lot of money on this movie.
Hmm.
And they're not seeing, not only are they not seeing any return, like it's going horribly in the wrong direction. Domestically, it's only brought in like 51 million, and internationally, it's brought in like 113 million dollars. So, that's not good. And Warner Brothers is gonna have to, they're gonna have to just take the loss, because like what else are they gonna do? But also, Paul Schrader chimed in and said that he watched a little bit of it, went to go grab like some food, and then came back and then like left.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know, 30 minutes into the movie. And that's interesting because I haven't really heard like directors jumping in on like current stuff that's like in the theater, like that the current discourse around a particular film while it's happening.
Yeah.
Um, so that's a bit interesting that Paul Schrader like decided to chime in about this one. Like that's yeah, that's fascinating. That's fascinating to me. But also like Lady Gaga put out a whole album called Harlequin, like built
Not a
around the
peep.
film. And her album sales are really bad. So
Hmm.
it's like this is not working out for anyone involved. Like this is really bad. And yeah, like I'm still seeing discourse about this film. People from music, people from film, like everyone is talking about how terrible this movie is. We already shared our thoughts about it last week,
Yeah.
but like, yikes.
This is really weird. Like you mentioned the album, Not a Peep about, and when Gaga in the past dropped an album, everybody would go out in droves and buy it or get some kind of radio play globally. This is, this trend I think of having accompanying albums. Kendrick did it with Black Panther stuff. They sold well. You had Megan Thee Stallion, Doja Cat. They did one for the Harley Quinn movie that sold well as well.
Hmm.
So Lady Gaga being the outlier, not selling well. And then also the reaction to this is it's being universally panned by a lot of people, whereas industry side, critic side, like you said, and the only thing I can compare it to was the criticism that Eternals got, but the issue, not Eternals, the Marvels, the Captain Marvel triple feature
Mm.
thing. The only difference I can see to that was that to me was only being um review bombed by a small vocal group who hate, the idea of seeing women lead in pictures. They were the main focal point because the movie actually still did very well comparatively to Joker 2. Still did about 100 million opening week. Opening week, that's a lot. It's not heavy hitting Marvel numbers, but it's still a lot. And people were
Mm.
saying it's bad because of that. But this is like everybody is just like, yo, what the hell with Joker? And we talked about it last week. There are certain people who, because it's Todd Phillips, are gonna say, "Oh, the movie's amazing," blah 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 blah, but the movie's not good. Like universally, but everybody's saying it's not good at all. So that's a problem. So
Yeah, it's very, it's interesting.
like Beetlejuice has been out for what 6 weeks, and it beat it out. This is Joker's 2 is the second week, and you get beat out by a movie in its sixth week. Sixth week? Wow, that's Like I said,
Yeah.
it's issues at Warner Brothers, starting at the top with David Zaslav. So
Yeah.
yeah,
He is responsible for everything. Like,
so moving on to that. So apparently there is going to be a drama about Agent Orange. He who shall not be named, Mr. Cheeto Puff, um, the man carry bad age. So many nicknames for the person. I'm not really gonna call his name. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you'll figure out by now. Apparently, there's a new movie drama about him called The Apprentice, which is going to uncover the guy that he really is. I don't know why it's being made because clearly these lawsuits have clearly disclosed the guy who he really is. Clearly, the full page ads he took out for the Central Park Five when they were two young boys who were not guilty. That showed who he is. The lawsuits from black tenants in New York citing racism and unfair rent prices showed who he is. You know, of the issues of Roe v. Wade, this talk about immigrants being ugly, knowing damn well his mother's an immigrant and she carried bad age and she looked like his ugly mother as well, as we know who he is. So I do not know why this movie is being made. Who is it for? You know,
hmm. Yeah, it's been controversial. It's this topic has gone on for a little bit because it came out at Cannes, I think, The Apprentice. And I feel like I think it's interesting to maybe like narratively try to unpack the former president, his psychology, but I also feel like you could just go online and see that for
yeah,
free.
for free.
Like you don't really need like a narrative structure of like this is how Trump became Trump. And apparently like the people who invested in it were like big supporters of Trump because they thought it was going to be like a nice movie about him.
Yeah,
And it's like no, it's going to be about him and it won't be nice because it's about him. And like whatever happens on screen, it seems like it seems
yeah,
like a lot. It hasn't done terribly well since it came out, like
yeah.
maybe 10 days ago or something.
Hmm.
Mainly because it's like we're so close to the election. Like, do we really want to see any more of this man than we have to? I don't think so.
Yeah,
Like Trump supporters aren't gonna watch it because it's not nice. Like Donald Trump has been like railing against the film for months now. So he's like literally spiraling because this film is coming out. And people who don't support Trump are going to want to see it because we're tired of seeing him.
yeah,
We want him to go away.
yeah.
So maybe just the timing of this movie wasn't right. Like maybe like in a couple of years, if the election goes well, like we can reintroduce the idea because it's like, okay, this is very much in the rear view of our lives. So we can like maybe watch it.
Yeah.
Because Ali Abbasi is a really great director, but like and Sebastian Stan in it. Like everyone seems
Yeah.
like they're doing their thing. It's just like well, we don't want to see this right now. And
Yeah.
I feel like the timing of a film is just
Four.
as important as the subject matter. So
Had this movie probably dropped a year or two ago.
yeah,
Maybe,
maybe.
maybe, but
Hmm.
I don't want to see that shit now. Honestly, I'm also knowing the I don't know, Sebastian Stan his also him as a person has come out in defense for a lot of the causes Trump is also vehemently against. So it's kind of really weird as an actor you take on that role because especially in this cultural zeitgeist is we kind of view actors by the characters they play. We don't separate the two. Like I'm concerned as to how his career might turn out because it was embers. It wasn't like on fire. You know, let's be honest. He did like Marvel really didn't really do him that many favors, his career wise. So it's kind of there, but not peaking where it should. So I hope there is not a negative turnout in his
I don't think
career
there
due to
will
this.
be. I feel
But
like when you're an actor, you play roles that are sometimes controversial.
yeah,
Like that is just a part of what
yeah,
you do. Like Topher Grace played David Duke.
yeah.
Do we think he's a racist?
No,
No.
no.
Like so it's
But
just
yeah,
like
I'm aware of
so
that.
it's not like you are the characters
Yeah,
you're taking on their politics. Actually, it makes more sense that you wouldn't be in agreement with the person's politics or their point of view in order to play them. That seems how it that seems to be like how it usually goes. It's like
Yeah.
you're very on the opposite sides of like that a character's perspective, or politically you're on the opposite sides of like the character you're playing, and that allows you to play the character.
But
So
what I
I
should
think he'll be
have,
fine. Like he has another movie coming out called A Different Man, and I
yeah.
just feel like that's getting really good reviews. He is a good actor. Like I just so I'm not worried about his career.
I mean it more so
Like
in
he'll be
the
fine.
range of how people right now view actors and the characters they play. They kind of are one and the same in a way, especially considering
Maybe young
how,
people,
yeah,
but not like regular people.
but you
Sorry,
also
not regular people. Sorry.
normal people. Peop-
Older-ish people, people who are
No,
just adults.
because we just had Dennis Quaid there do that stupid Reagan movie that everybody thought was going to be fire, all the MAGA people, and it didn't do well, and now he's speaking at Trump rallies. We've just had,
Dennis
n-
Quaid?
yeah, not Dennis
Oh,
Quaid.
then
Um,
wait, who are we talking about?
what's the dude in Parent Trap? That's Dennis
Is
Quaid,
it?
isn't it?
Hold on. Now we have to
That's
look it
Dennis
up.
Quaid. Yeah,
Now we gotta look it up and see.
Dennis Quaid played Reagan.
Then that might be his politics
Yeah,
then.
and then you, of course, stuff with Kevin Costner, as well. It seemed like a take where their roles kind of reflect the person they are. I don't know. That's just me. But that might be an older generation of old white men rolling at the sun. But then you also got fucking, what's the dude, Shazam, doing the same thing. He
Oh yeah, well we
expected,
already knew he
yeah, he expected Shazam would take him to The Rock and, Chris Evans level. And now he's ranting all, spewing their toxic self, knowing damn well he has young fans who actually liked his movies. So, yeah.
Oh, Dennis Quaid, that's so disappointing.
Yeah, I told you. Can't watch Parent Trap anymore, can you? Nope.
Well, I don't watch the Parent Trap, but I do watch The Day After Tomorrow. That is my movie, so I'm really sad. Oh, that's gross. And it's in The Substance. I I think that it's interesting that like there are more of these there's more people coming out for these like very right-wing kind of policies, but I also think that it's generational. Like it is like you're just old, so maybe you've fallen down the hole, maybe believed
But Zachary Levi is
some
not old, so that's the
conspiracy
thing.
theories. Oh no, I'm talking about Dennis Quaid, and who did you said Kevin
Kevin
Costner?
Costner, yeah.
I don't know what he did. I haven't looked it up yet, but
Well, it's the same rhetoric. It's
so I just
stuff.
think that unfortunately that's just their that's probably how they were already thinking, or they might have fell down some like conspiracy trap hole and got involved in this stuff, which is very easy to do, unfortunately. But like Zachary Levi has already been on some mess. Like as soon as he got so upset about Shazam 2 not being like well received, it was like, and then he was saying stuff during the actor strike. Like he was already on a rampage. So like this turn to Trumpism makes sense to me. It's like, okay, this is where you're at, sure.
Yeah. So,
Hmm. Yeah, makes sense. Um, I think there was one more news story about Netflix potentially removing
well, oh
Palestinian
yeah, there's
films.
currently whispers online. I don't know if it's confirmed. This might be substantiated, but people are recognizing a large swath of Palestinian directed acting led films are kind of being slowly removed from Netflix. Um, Netflix, I think it is reported Netflix is kind of removing more controversial Palestinian featured movies. I don't know if Netflix is trying to play both lines or not, but it hasn't been confirmed, but it's something people online have noticed. So, yeah.
Yeah, and it's so sad and disappointing. Like the good thing is that we still have books. There are still a lot of great Palestinian books if you want to read them. Because yeah, it's ridiculous. Like, and I think Tinashe Coates,
Yeah.
his new book. I need to read that. But like I've been listening to a lot of his interviews, and what he was saying was really interesting because like even in media, there is not a lot of like Muslim representation that you're gonna see, even in like the news. So you have
Mhm.
like we're talking about this war, and you don't even have people who are from there, or even in the general area, like giving their perspective, talking to you about like what is going on. It's just everything is so like messed up when it comes to that. And they're gonna what all the people who are like being evil about the situation, like who don't care that there's genocide going on, like your day is coming. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's talk about what we've been watching.
I've been on a bit of a movie break. You know, it is baseball postseason. Baseball postseason on the full swing. So I'm kind of playing catch up, watching a bunch of games right now. Probably gonna probably during this week, knock out the rest of the most recent season of Industry. So looking forward to wrapping that up. So.
Yeah. I want to see what's that new documentary on Netflix, The Starting Five.
Oh yeah, the basketball documentary. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna watch that.
Yeah, I'm interested in that too, especially as a Heat fan. I'm not gonna lie.
A
lot of us gave flack to Jimmy Butler, and he revealed in the documentary like his dad died around All-Star break, and every Heat fan was like, "Yo, Jimmy, you're playing like a bum." And I think these kind of sports documentaries are good because a lot of times we don't really see these athletes as human beings. You know, until like they retire or they pass away, and then like, oh, this was an actual person. We only think of them now in the fact of what can you do for me and for what can you do for my entertainment value. So
yeah, so I'm gonna watch that. But my friend had recommended watching this show on Apple called Trying, which is about this couple in Britain who are like trying to have a baby and then they end up adopting. Like, it is so good, and like all the actors are really good, and like the chemistry between like this like very weird family is really good. Like the social commentary is very poignant as well. And it's just such a nice, like, it's not wholesome in the way of like, I don't know, wholesome like maybe a Studio Ghibli film would be wholesome. It's just wholesome in the way of like people who like really care about each other going through like a difficult time of like trying to have a child, and like how their family, who are all insane, but like who really do care about them and they're trying to support them. It's just very sweet. So I've been enjoying that. There's 4 seasons and I am already on season 4. And I can't stop watching it. So yeah, I'm gonna finish that up and I'm really excited about it. But yeah, that's what I've been watching. So that is it from us this week. We hope that you're all taking care of yourselves and doing well. Make sure to check out all of our social media, support us if you can, and we will see you guys in the next episode. Bye.
Au revoir.